I'm sitting on.
Hi, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight, we'll be talking mainly about the preview for the England game, perhaps a little bit about Spain.
Spurs Diehards Tottenham.
Perhaps a little bit about Spurs, Spain, France. There's a little bit of transfer news, but obviously this won't be a very lengthy show because I'm sure everyone wants to watch the game later on. So without further ado, I'll introduce three very good guests, three regulars as well. They're all part of the superb team we've got, our crack team. We've got Queen Ellie, an admin in the group. We've got Ian Meth, an admin in the group. And we've got Soren Krebs, a mod in our group. We have a couple of late comers coming in, but it remains to be seen. But we have more than enough to carry on. So, without further ado, I'm going to come to you, Soren, first, as you're the mod. What do you think? How do you think, after the last result, which was a good one on penalties, how do you think Southgate will set up? What would be your team? What system would you use? Would you go 4-2-3-1 or play 5 at the back? And who would you like to see play? But who would you like to see Southgate play?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Look, I think it's one of those that we're in the semi-final of a World Cup, of a European Cup, and as much as we think he needs to change his system, he's got us to a semi-final. I kind of think whatever he goes with, we've got to trust. The football's been boring. It's not been great. The players haven't played well, but it's a knockout competition. You can only take it game by game, and you kind of think, hopefully, it's going to come right. Who would I change? I'm one of these believers that you can't drop Harry Kane. He's got to play. I'd like to see Cole Palmer start because I think it brings a little bit. I don't know what it is, but we've got a lot of feedback coming through. There's a lot of noise from my arm hearing, so I don't know.
It's like a screeching noise.
Yeah. I don't think it's me, but
should we all mute and see?
I think it's when you move.
Okay.
Birds tweeting. Who's that? It's the outside people. Tell them.
It's not so bad now. I mean, I kind of.
So yeah, I think Cole Palmer probably needs to start. But he's like, how do you drop Saka after the last performance? What a game he had. I don't know how you change it really, because he's got us to where we are. So you kind of just got to trust him, in my opinion. And as much as I don't want to, how do you not?
Okay. Ian, your take on that?
Yeah, well, a very good evening from sunny Spain. I think the fireworks may be going off later this evening if the Spanish get through. But I'm sort of half with Soren on this. I think we've got to where we've got to. He's not going to make wholesale changes now. You do not change your system and everything about it when you are at the you got to the semi-final of the competition. It just doesn't happen. I've said on a few shows, my team would be the back four, as is Gooey would obviously have to come back. Walker at right back, Stones in the middle, Shaw then at left back, which gives us balance. But it would almost be like a similar Tottenham team. I would play one holding player. He likes playing two, so he's not going to change that. But I would have the holding player, the driving number 6, as Declan Rice. I would play the 2 8s or 2 10s, 2 inside forwards, Bellingham and Foden. I'd play Gordon out wide left, Saka, undroppable, superb player, out right. And I don't think Kane is fit. I mean, I've said this. If you've listened to anyone watching has listened to anything I've said for a couple of weeks now, I think we Spurs supporters know what Harry Kane is like when he's fit, and it ain't anything like what he is at the moment. So I would be playing Palmer, much more mobile, far faster. And I mean, I ask you this question: who's going to give Van Dijk more problems tomorrow, Harry Kane or Cole Palmer? And on that, I rest, sir.
Ellie, your take on this? Short to play the 90 minutes, in your opinion?
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Ellie.
There you go. Sorry, professional mistake. I'll come in from a different angle. I'm thinking we haven't played anybody of any calibre, really. I mean, Denmark and Switzerland, they're not exactly top class footballers. They're good, don't get me wrong. They're good teams, but they're not like up in the Spains and the Frances and the Netherlands and all the other teams that have been competing at that higher level over the last 20, 30 years. I know Southgate and he won't really change a lot. But I agree with the lads that we should bring in Cole Palmer because the lad's got talent, and keep Mainu in the midfield because he's class. I love the way he is, the way he moves off the ball as well. He's fantastic, and you can't drop Saka. He's got to play Saka because he had a fantastic game. Also, I would play Foden in the middle and play Harry Kane just behind him in that number 10 role, and then bring in Luke Shaw because we need the experience. Even though Holland are not that good, right, and they haven't really shown much of what we expect from a Dutch team, but they've still got players who can turn it on the day. They're more a team of individuals, I would say, with Depay and Gakpo. I think they don't play so much as a team. So we've got that 1-1 because we've started playing, even though we've played pretty pants throughout the tournament, apart from the last game. But we've always come up trumps. So I expect him to be the same old, but I'd really love it if he played Cole Palmer because I think that boy is losing talent. And
Who would you leave out, Ellie?
Sorry?
Who would you leave out if you're going to play Palmer?
I'll probably leave out. It's a hard one to call.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
I'll probably leave out Foden. Because he hasn't been performing, and he'll probably be a super sub and win us the game because the lad has something to prove. And if we drop him to the bench, he'll be itching to come on and prove himself. Whereas when you're a regular in the fixture of Gareth Southgate, You know, he likes to keep the same old, doesn't he? And he's tried and tested. And we've got this far. We've been playing that system. All right, we haven't played brilliant, but we've got this far. So we've got a chance of getting to that final. And we've got to grab it with both feet, really, haven't we? Come on. Let's go. Let's show Holland how to play football.
All right, we'll come to Holland next after. I mean, I'll have my say. I mean, of course, you know, Gueye has to come back in, doesn't he? I don't know if Southgate and Conser played well, so I don't know if Southgate will play a back five. I'm not a fan of a back five. I know the system can work, but it's not. I prefer 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, and that's what I prefer for Spurs as well, rather than a back five. But with the back four, I mean, like with say Stones, Gueye, Shaw, and Walker, I'd still want my midfield to have Rice there, and I'd still want Bellingham as a ball-carrying Gaza-style number 8 who can give that forward defence splitting pass, you know, in the penalty area around there. Now, I'm coming on line with you with the Foden being dropped. I mean, I loved the player. What I see last year, I thought it was fantastic. He's just not done it. I mean, and if you're a good player as good as he is, he should be able to adapt, shouldn't he? Let's be fair. We make excuses for players a lot of the time. So, I mean, I would play Mainu because Mainu's done nothing wrong, and Bellingham there as the 2-8s, basically. I would play them both. I wouldn't drop Kane. He's got 2 goals. You don't drop someone who scores goals. I don't know about the fitness level. Ian surmising he's got a fitness issue. He may or may not have one, but would Southgate dare risk something like that in a semi-final? So, again, I was wrong about Saka. I wanted to play Foden, so that shows how much I know, right? Because it was a great goal he scored, right? I wanted Bowen to play instead. But if you're going to play Carlton Palmer, you then got to play him on the left because Saka's not going to be moved from the right now, and you still got Kane there. So, but you know, I still want Watkins in my team. So I'd play Kane there as well, much as before. I don't think we're that desperate to have, if we can create through the middle, that we necessarily need to play 2 wingers. You keep Saka there, and I would play Watkins and Kane. If I'm dropping Foden, I'm bringing Watkins in. So that's me. But back to you, Soren, on the Dutch. I don't know how much you know about them. Where do you think their threats are? Where they're good or whatever? I mean, like...
I mean, I know they're from Holland. You know, we'll get that right. When I was watching them the other night, I wasn't that impressed by them. I kind of look at them and think, do you know what? I think I would have rather have played them than Turkey. So you look at it and you think, yeah, it's good, but they looked a lot more threatening when they brought, what's his name? The tall guy, striker. Can't think of his name now. But yeah, it was. I quite fancy our chances against them. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Ian, your take on the Dutch?
Yeah, good side. I'm actually just looking at what their actual lineup was. I mean, they've got good players in every position, and this is where I'm going to get frustrated with Southgate. I think they're takeable because I think they're vulnerable at the back. I think that Aki's not looked as strong and as confident as I've seen him in a Manchester City shirt. He was a player, by the way, I was screaming for us to buy when Bournemouth were relegated. And as ever, you know, we don't. He goes to Manchester City. People saying, why do we want to take a player from a relegated team, etc., etc. I think Van Dijk has lost at least a yard of pace, and I think he looks vulnerable. I don't think he looks confident, which is another reason why I wouldn't want to play Kane, because I don't think Kane has got the fitness and the confidence to take him on. Whereas I think someone like Cole or even Watkins, Palmer rather, Watkins, I think would really give him trouble. I suppose what will happen, we'll be 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go. We'll bring in the changes and we'll win 2-1. That's just how it goes. But they've got good players in attacking positions. But the one thing, we went into this tournament worried about our defence, thinking we'd score plenty of goals, but how many would we concede? The thing is, we haven't conceded very many at all, and the defence has actually looked really, really solid. Gui's been an absolute revelation. Stones is a class act. We're going to be better for having a fit Luke Shaw and balance on the left. Carl Walker is just class. Pickford, he's not the greatest goalkeeper I've ever seen, but he's far from the worst. So we're pretty solid there. Declan Rice does a good holding job. I mean, he made a huge difference to Arsenal last year. But you're in a semi-final. You ain't gonna get an easy semi-final. If you think at this level. Oh, what was that? Is that? I might check. I've got headphones on. I might take them off. I think if we play to our potential, and you're still waiting for an England performance, we can do this. We absolutely can do this. I think there's something wrong with my headphones, and that might be where the problem is. So Anyway, vamos España. But let me try and get rid of these headphones.
Ellie, your take on the Dutch? What do you know about them? Probably a lot more than me.
I was just admiring the shades.
What, the headphones?
The Dutch. They're unpredictable, aren't they? They've always got that camp where they're sort of got infighting and that, but it doesn't seem like they've got that this time round. I think they're pretty much getting on. Not that I've never heard anything since the tournament started that they've got ructions, because the Dutch can be quite temperamental, most of their players, and they've got big egos as well, some of them. But I think this team, I've not seen anything that frightens me in particular. They've got individual players, who can turn it on the day, but I just think we've got the beating of them, and if we play to our potential, I think we're going to have a comfortable win, because we haven't even hit 40% yet in terms of how we can play, right? Because those boys, what we put out on that pitch, they can show a lot more than what they're showing. And I just hope that we put in our best performance, get to the final and ride that joyous line, like where we're going to win the final this time, and not cock up like we did against Italy, where we let them get into the match. I just think we have got the beating of them, and I think we've got a better goalie as well. I think Pickford is like a general at the back. He's always communicating. Love him. I love Walker. He's had a very good tournament. Mainu, class. Saka is coming into his own. I think we've got enough to beat them, to tell you the truth, regardless of their strong defence, because on their day, Ake and Van Dijk, they're world class, aren't they? I mean, they are world class anyway, but on their day, they can make a difference as well, because they're good stoppers of goals, So we just have to make sure they have an off day and terrorise them, and get Cole Palmer and Mainu on the ball as much as we can, and Bellingham driving through the middle and making those killer passes like you mentioned, Adrian. I hope we play well. If we lose and if we play well and we lose, at least we gave it a good shot. But if we play pants and lose, I think there's going to be a big meltdown, and I think we're going to see the last of Southgate, aren't we?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I told you I have a campaign ready to go to rename Southgate Station Lower Oakwood.
Sorry, you got to say?
Yeah, do you think the thing is, though, it's like at the start of the tournament,
I have 1 million signatures.
At the start of the tournament, we'd have all taken a semi-final, wouldn't we? And
100%.
It's like if we go back to like when Conte was with us and under Southgate with England, and you say, oh, if we get to a semi-final, I don't care how we play as long as we get there, and we've kind of done that, but yet we're all still mourning because we want more. We always want more, and you sort of look at it and think, at some point it's got to click. Hopefully, I mean, obviously, if we lose, then it might not. But to me, it's one of those. You look at the 4 teams that are in England, Holland, France, and Spain. All 4 teams are certainly beatable. Spain don't look as dominant as they did in the early stages. They still look good, but they don't look quite as dominant. They do look vulnerable. France look as though they can be beaten. Holland obviously look like they can be beaten, and we certainly look like we can be beaten. Although you look at it and you think the games we've played, we've gone 1-0 down or whatever, but we've managed to get back and we've managed to, do what we need to do. Hopefully, we'll carry on and do that. But we're in a semi-final. Let's get behind them.
Yeah. Can I just come in? Spurs. This is breaking news from Football London. Spurs to announce huge new shirt sleeve sponsorship deal to boost. Well, it says FFP. We don't have FFP anymore, but profit and sustainability. Spurs, and it's an exclusive from Ali Gold. Tottenham are set to sign a major money spinning deal, which will help them over the transfer market over the seasons to come. Tottenham Hotspur are in advanced negotiations over a huge new match day shirt sleeve sponsorship. Can't get my words out. Sponsorship deal, which is expected to be announced as early as this month. Football London understands. In other words, Football London has been told. Spurs shirt sleeve partnership with Cinch was meant to last 5 years, but the online car selling company exercised its early exit option. Early exit deal appears to have benefited Tottenham greatly. Made the most of rising sponsorship. I'm trying to paraphrase this, but it will dwarf the deal. Will dwarf, that's Ali's word, the 10 million a year they were getting from Cinch, and should be announced in the coming weeks. So that would have come from inside the club. Ali Gold gets his information firsthand. He doesn't go making stuff like that up. So that's good news.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of breaking news. Yeah, and as long as money comes, feeds down into a football squad.
Absolutely,
that's what we want to see. Still on Holland. Ian, with you, do you think? I've got a little theory about this tournament. I think I've seen a lot of tired legs in this tournament from teams finishing their leagues and coming straight.
Yeah,
I'm in the inclination that I think that spaces and mistakes, if they're going to happen, they're going to happen in these semi-finals and perhaps even the final, if players aren't coming in there like fresh-legged. So substitutions may play a big part. And I'm wondering, and I'll ask you, Ian, first, do you think both teams, England and Holland, are going to find more space because of this in tomorrow night's game?
That's a really good question. And I think that's one of the ones where, Southgate has his way of playing and he has his personnel, whereas perhaps tournament football, you try and rotate as best you can. You have 2 players for every position who should be able to come in and do the job. Look, you're absolutely right. And I think that would bring us on to a bigger debate about the amount of football we're asking players to play. I mean, the final is on Sunday. Let's assume for a minute England are in that final. And Tottenham, I know we haven't got that many players in it, and Tottenham play their first pre-season friendly on Wednesday at Tynecastle Park in the West End of Edinburgh.
This Saturday now, Ian. This Saturday, they booked in a friendly against Cambridge United. I think it'll be played at Hotspur Way. And that's an interesting point as well. We can discuss it and come back to England because all our 3 centre-backs will be away, our main ones.
Yep.
So you may see a Davies, Ashley Phillips partnership at centre-back because this game is another one. So it's now our 7th pre-season friendly. So Ange obviously wanted this. He obviously likes game time. So I think it's a plus. Plus, to get them players back at the squad, the young kids, because it gives them another extra game, means that Bergvall and Gray and other youngsters, Donnelly and Phillips and that, they're going to get more opportunities. It's going to be a very interesting, revealing pre-season.
Yeah,
and that's without any new signings, you know.
But, I mean, players like Udogie, you'd think would get a game. You'd think that, well, Porro's there, isn't he? Udogie. But yeah, the centre halves will be interesting. But I'm thinking of Solomon getting a game. I'm also thinking that we'll see Bergvall. I mean, I'm going to the game. I've got tickets. Bergvall will go. Bergvall will play. I think Gray will play. Whether they'll start is another matter. But Bentancur's away still, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's with Uruguay. They've qualified for the semi-finals.
Yeah, but Bissouma will be there. You know, Sarr. There's still, that's the thing. You think, God, we've got so many players out, and then you look at the team we can put on the field, and it will be a really good team.
I
Good
think
evening, Louis, by the way.
Yeah,
Good
I think.
evening,
Good evening, Louis. I think before you're off to your Hearts game, when this Cambridge United game this Saturday, it's before the Euro final anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if any time the young ones are going to get a game, it's going to be in this one because it is Cambridge United. No disrespect to them, right? So it'll be interesting. With regard, guys, to all you listening in the chat and those watching on playback, all our 6 friendlies are going to be shown on Spurs Play. I got the email today off the club. And look, I'm not one to pump up Levy. I've got my gripes with him. But the one thing I can say, Spurs Play, for you're a member for 45 to 55 quid. It's a little bit different if you're not a season ticket holder like me. It's a bit dearer. It's worth every penny for all them. You get to see every under 21 game. You get to see some WSL games, the Women's Super League games. You know, to me, it is very. You get lots of history of the club, all them interviews, and I think it's brilliant value. Whoa, here we go. Where is it? All right.
Evening.
Have you not paid the electricity
Mark's
bill?
saving on the electricity. Yeah.
Get out the cave.
Welcome, Mark. Right, okay.
Good evening. Right. I'm sorry I'm late, but
that's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
But the link you sent me didn't work. I've been here messing about forever.
Yeah, Mark. Remember, it's better to be Mark Cousins late than the late Mark Cousins.
Yeah,
very true. You don't want to be in a coffin. Just put it that way.
No.
Right, we're talking about England, Holland, Mark. And we've got to a stage where I theorise that I think there's a lot of tired legs in this competition. That's why the football's been crap, basically, most of it. And I think tomorrow the Dutch like to have a go, and I think we'll get a lot of space. And I remember I keep going back to Euro '96 when we picked them off and beat them 4-1. Yeah. A fantastic game. And our players ain't really stretched themselves. I can see I'm hoping as well, obviously, I can see a similar situation arising where we pick them off. I just think that although the Dutch usually have got good quality players, I just think we just got that bit of extra stardust than they've got in their team. And I think we'll find space tomorrow, and I think it's going to work to our advantage. Plus, as it may depend on fresh legs, our squad's deeper than theirs. Right, so and I think that could play a very important role. It might only be a 2-1 or whatever, but it wouldn't surprise me if England won by a couple of goals. What's your take?
Now, I've got an idea on this. After watching England for all this tournament, why don't they forgo the match and just start with penalties? Because we all know that's the way it's going to end. Just forgo the running about for 120 minutes and just have penalties.
Yeah, I don't think it will go to penalties.
No,
I think this will be sorted in 90 minutes.
Do you, Mark? Did you really? I know you've been a bit facetious saying it will go to penalties. I get that. I mean, because England haven't excited me. I'm with you on that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Well, I'd like to think not, because it's not a very nice way to win or lose, is it? Well, it's all right if you win. But it's a horrible way to lose, especially when you go into a final. I mean,
well, you know, good old UEFA as well. You know, they're almost as bad as the Premier League.
Yeah.
Not opening a transfer window at the beginning of the season and doing it
Yeah.
when the Euros open, right? So
Yeah.
players are going into competition with tired legs. So what we do, if it's a draw, we'll have extra time and tire them out even
Yeah.
more. Right? Why not just go
Yeah.
straight to penalties? That might make the teams a bit more urgent during 90 minutes. What do you think?
Yeah.
Definitely. Or what I quite liked when it was in was the golden goal thing.
I hated that.
Yeah.
Go on.
When it was, well,
I liked it.
No, it's only my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, like, if you liked it, you liked it, you know?
even though all the games ended up going to penalties anyway, to be honest.
Well,
Because they played half an hour of it. And
Let's
then it
talk
was,
about extra time. Soren, do you like extra time or not?
I do and I don't. I'm not one for liking straight to penalties. I get it for the players' point of view, but I'm kind of I like to see the football. So the way I look at it is, you know, like the other day when Germany scored in the last minute to go into extra time, you think, I've got another 30 minutes of football. I like that idea. The downside to it is sometimes they play for penalties then. So you do get some boring, but then you get some really good ones as well. And yes, it was good when you had the golden goal, in the sense of, if it was for you, it was brilliant. If it was against you, it was the worst thing in the world. You know, if it's a mistake or something, at least you get the chance to come back. Maybe, and I don't know if it would make a difference, instead of having 15 minutes, have 10 minutes each way. I don't know what the answer is, because I think we've seen it before where it goes straight to penalties and you then get to, say, 80 minutes or 75 minutes, and then the teams start playing for penalties. So you lose that 15 minutes at the end of your game as well. So I like the format as it is. Keep the 15 minutes each way, then go to penalties. And the thing is, sometimes when you've got tired players, it makes a more exciting game, because you've got those mistakes, you've got those chances. So, you know, I like the system as it is.
Ian, are you a fan of extra time?
Yeah. I quite like the old first goal, the winner. Albeit the view was that it just made teams even more defensive because they were scared to lose the game. I was just had to do something inside, but there was also a suggestion that at the beginning of the game you would take the penalties. Beginning of the game you would take the penalties. And then the team that knew that going to penalties would put them out had an obligation to attack. It goes against the grain of the game. I know, but I don't think it works. Secondly, we're at a point where we need to be honest. We are asking far too much of players, and it seems that FIFA and UEFA are wanting to demand more and more and more. And you know, we've seen players collapse on pitches. All right, that's maybe not down to FIFA and UEFA, because these guys are super fit, and if you've got congenital heart problems, you have congenital heart problems. But I'm worried about the number of minutes we're asking these guys to play. And then we're at a point where, I mean, am I old-fashioned? You're thinking that the season ended with a cup final, and it started again in August. They came back but they had 6 weeks off where they didn't have to do anything, and they refreshed and recharged and what have you. I'm seriously worried about the amount we're asking our players to do. And we've talked about this, where we'll be any Tottenham player that might be potentially involved, even as a sub on Sunday. All right, you've got the behind closed doors friendly, but let's even say that we've got our first official game 3 days later. Our first official friendly 3 days later. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Mark, come on to you. So also, players who won these tournaments, they don't have a proper pre-season, do they? And then they come back, and then you may find that it may take them a while to rest up a bit and even get into their stride in the season. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, they got to have 3 weeks off, I would have thought, just to give them a rest.
I think the minimum's 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, but I would have said 3, really.
I think most of them get 3 weeks, but I think they've said if you're at a tournament, you have at least 2 weeks.
Yeah. But it's what whoever was just said. It's all about money these days. I mean, even when there isn't a tournament, UEFA invented that stupid Nations League.
Yeah.
That England got relegated from. That you just play 8 friendlies, whatever it is. I mean, I mean, what sort of nonsense is that?
Just on the Nations League as well. See what they're trying to do, because what happened was, if you were knocked out or weren't qualifying for a World Cup competition or Europa League competition, most international sides would play 6 friendlies if they weren't involved. Or if you're playing group stages, you might play 4 games and 2 friendlies or whatever it is. So now they've introduced a Nation League. I mean, if you got to the final of that, I mean, I don't think I could even raise a bit of excitement, you know what I mean? But I mean,
England didn't even take it seriously, did they? Because they got relegated. Or maybe that was Gareth's fault.
Yeah. Ellie, you're go on then, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think the thing that point needs to happen is drop 2 teams from the Premiership, which chucks off 4 games, which would then mean you could have an extra 2 weeks, either a week at the end and the week at the beginning, or 2 weeks before it starts, just to get that rest in for the players. But obviously we know it won't because of the money.
Yeah, I mean, Son had no pre-season last year. He was late. He arrived back late. So, but and we started the season. I mean, our pre-season last year was an utter shambles, wasn't it?
It was a shambles.
We went on tour. We went to those places instead of going to one place or say Korea and playing 3 games there. We went to Australia, went to Korea, Singapore. It rained, didn't it? Like players were jumping on and off of planes, coming back. That's another thing. The jet lag between games, you know? and then you got to come back. And my biggest gripe was at the time is I always want my players back at the training ground a month before the season starts. Now I realise that in the Southern Hemisphere, I mean, like with Korea and Japan, their seasons are from December through to February, and their rainy season is from June to mid-July. So you can understand why we're playing the mid-July game pre-season friendly out there. That's fine.
We had a game against Leicester in Seoul, I think it was, rained off.
Yeah.
Last summer.
Yeah, we did. And that you could have said, well, if you were playing just in Korea or in Singapore or whatever, you could have just arranged 3 or 4 matches there. If it rained one day and you were staying there for a week or 10 days, you could have thrown another game in. But when you've got to jump on a plane and go somewhere else, I mean, this is why I sincerely hope that the structure of the club's changed now, that there's more connectivity between the admin side and the footballing side. So we arrange these tours that suit. We know that Korea and Japan are just money spinning exercises.
Yeah, it's all about,
it's all about money. But again, it's also got to be good preparation for our pre-season as well. Now, I think Ange must be happy with the arrangements we've got because, you had 6 games before Cambridge United's thrown in for this Saturday. So he must have wanted this, right? So so I'm happy if he's happy with it, right? So and the last pre-season game will be against Bayern Munich at the Spurs Stadium on the 10th of August, which is a week before the season starts, right? So that's all well and good. But Ellie, you've played the game, you know about fatigue and things like that. What do you think about players' welfare during this tournament and the suggestions too much football?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a fast-paced game now as well, and it's sort of a passing game. There's not much individual skill in the game anymore, so you have to run a lot and move a lot. So it does take its toll on the players, and we've even seen it in this tournament early doors. Even the players are jaded, and towards the end of the tournament, we're coming to the crescendo where the semi-finals and the finals going to be played, and they are whacked out. You can see even the Spanish players who were moving so sweetly at the beginning of the tournament were like leggy against Germany. So I think they do need a rest, because the limbs need resting, and they deserve a rest as well, because they've been playing football right throughout because of this Euro tournament as well. And the Copa America, remember, because we've got players out there playing and representing Uruguay as well, with Bentancur and Romero for Argentina, haven't we? So, yeah, and I think Richarlison, I'm not sure if he got picked for Brazil. I don't think he did he?
No, he's home.
He got left behind, yeah. Well, the thing is, they do need the rest, and they need family time as well, because that's important, you know, and they're human beings like everybody else. That take the money out of it, take the money equation out of it, they do deserve it. And me as a player, like you mentioned, yeah, you do get whacked as well, and you need time to recover from the back. You could just get a little knock and it can play on you for a game, you know. So
is there no caveat to your opinion? I mean, like, do you think Ndombele needs a rest?
No, what he needs to open up a burger bar, I think, and like make his millions that way, because I think he'll be a great ambassador for it.
He did offer himself to Barcelona. You do know that. He's back at Lille or Lyon.
Let's not forget he's won more trophies while he's been out on loan than all our players have. You know, for all those that say players have got no ambition and they stay at Spurs, you know, you've got a player like Ndombele who has no ambition, who can go out there, join a team, do absolutely nothing for a season and still win a bloody trophy.
He scored one worldie goal, Soren. He scored one from about 25 yards, banged it in.
And
then
that was I bet he saw somebody eating some chicken nuggets up in the stand and he thought, I'm having them, you bugger.
When he scored that worldie for us against Sheffield United.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was a great goal.
Yeah, that was a fantastic goal.
Scored on his debut as well, didn't he, at Spurs?
I just don't get it. I just don't get why he doesn't want to play with all that talent. You know, he could have been a world beater, couldn't he?
He could have been one of the best in the game. Well,
okay, right.
Best of the modern era. Yeah.
Right then, Soren, if you do know anything, I mean, we've got a game tonight after this podcast: Spain versus France.
Yes.
What do you know about those two teams? Because I've got to be honest. I mean, I know Spain have played well. I've caught little glimpses of them on playback, but I haven't watched them. And I've got to be honest, I haven't watched France either. Have you watched either side?
I have, yeah. For a change. I think France have looked good in small parts and beatable in others. They've still got, again, it's another team that's still got to probably show the best football. Spain have shown us some fantastic football, and then in the last game looked beatable. So I think it's going to be a real good game. And I predicted Spain would win the tournament when, from the beginning, and sort of watching the first group games, I kind of didn't see anything else other than a Spain win. But you just kind of look at that French team and think, if Mbappe starts to play, because I mean, he hasn't done a lot this tournament. He
broke his nose.
Well, he broke his nose, yeah. I mean, he had the chance of a Ninja Turtle mask and turned it down. But yeah, look, I mean, both teams have got some fantastic players, and both teams can be absolutely fantastic on the day. Who do I think? I think, yeah, I'm gonna go with Spain, and I still think I'm hoping it'll be a Spain-England final. And obviously England are going to win the final. So I do predict Spain tonight. But I've said on most of the matches so far, it wouldn't surprise me if it was the other way around.
So, Ian, have you gone native on us, Ian? Have you gone native?
Have I done what, sorry?
Have you gone native? You're out in Spain. Have you gone native?
I've gone native, yeah.
I'm going to say he's got a T-shirt on.
I mean, the idea...
He's got his T-shirt on.
Back to London on Monday, but the idea of being in Spain the night of next Sunday night, the night of a Spain England final, just fills me with so much hope. I mean, I like that comment by Spursy Cuss. I think that's bang on. On paper, Spain beat France in football, anyone's guess. Bang. I mean, if it was all predictable, why would we bother watching? I mean, seriously, let's get AI to put the result into a computer and let's watch it on FIFA, and you know, in quick time, and not bother to spend an hour and a half worrying about it. Anything can happen tonight. You would expect Spain to win. I do hope Spain will win. I very much hope. Have I upset? Sorry. I very much hope Spain.
No. You put in the private chat. He's got to go.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
I think he's got to have his paella.
I very much hope Spain will win, and I very much hope on Sunday night it's an England-Spain final, because it will be a hell of a night here. Albeit this place is predominantly British where I am, unfortunately. Yeah, Spain have been the outstanding side. But I've seen so many football tournaments where the team that's outstanding at the beginning doesn't win it. You know, whether you say they peaked too soon or what, at the end of the day, they just don't come through. They have one bad game, as in a semi-final, and suddenly, you know, they're on the plane home. Seen it so often.
Mark?
Let's call a spade a spade. France have been pants. You know, there's no. They, to be honest, they've been worse than England. France haven't scored a goal yet from open play. I don't think.
No, they haven't.
Was it 2 own goals and a penalty or something they've scored? But you know, on paper you'd say Spain will win easy tonight, but you never know. You never know. You really never know. I mean, Spain have been fantastic the whole tournament. I've been really impressed with them. They always play, well, they had a lot of influence over there, but they always play with that South American sort of feel.
Yeah.
Probably because they spent most of the couple of centuries over there. But like, you can tell that their culture has like been passed on to your likes of Brazil and that, you know.
Yeah.
Because the way the Brazilians play always reminds me of the way the Spanish play. It's always that sort of stroke it about, sort of arrogance on the ball. You know, it's been the complete opposite of England, to be honest.
Well, when they won the Euros and the World Cup before, it was a possession-based football, and they used to just play keep ball full stop, score one goal, and you didn't, and that was it. If you didn't score before them, you were not winning the game, right? Because they just score one and just pass it around for 90 minutes.
Yeah. But it's not like England score one and sit back and defend for your lives. They just keep the thing, and you won't see it for like 10 minutes. But like Spain have been fantastic, but I haven't watched a lot of France, but apparently they've been like not so good. Like obviously them, but France in a way remind me of Portugal, because Portugal is Ronaldo and 10 others. You know,
really?
France.
I'm sorry, I'll finish what you got.
France is like Mbappe and 10 others. You know, he seems to be up there on that pedestal. You know, I mean, but I think Spain will win. They should do.
Ellie, you watched much of Spain and France in this tournament?
Yeah, I have. I've not been impressed with France either. I agree with Mark wholeheartedly. They've been pants.
Yeah, they have been pants.
Like they haven't scored a goal in open play. But they have got their players that can turn it on the day. Like they've got Griezmann, they've got N'Golo Kante, who's a fabulous footballer. They've got Mbappe up the front. If he plays well, they can squeeze a result out of it. But I just fancy Spain. It's like the great Brian Clough said, I've got the greatest team on paper. But unfortunately, it's not played on paper. It's played on grass. You know, because I'm saying that because it's played on grass, right? So if you're looking at it as a betting person, you would put all your mortgage and everything you own on Spain to win this match. The way they've been playing has been awesome. Their movement off the ball, their passing is so slick, you know, and they're a joy to watch. Actually, I've enjoyed them so much Danny Olmo, especially. I think he's an incredible player.
The youngster as well. They got the youngster,
Nico Williams.
Yeah,
Nico Williams
And
absolutely
Lamar at the back.
stunning.
And Lamar.
Brilliant footballers.
16-year-old.
Technically gifted, can move the ball so well with accuracy and with speed, you know, and they're like lightning. Before you know it, it's in the back of your net, you know. And even Morata, I've been impressed with his movement as well. Although he's not a prolific goal scorer, we know this, but he works hard for the team, and I think that's why he's won his stripes in the Spanish eyes. Yeah, so I'm putting all my money on Spain. I hope they win because they deserve to be in the final.
Absolutely.
Just like their ladies. Their ladies made the final and beat us, unfortunately, 1-0.
Yep.
So
Vamos España.
I hope we can reverse one on them and our fellas beat their fellas. You know, but it's gonna be touch and go because France have got their individuals, and if they turn it on, they can easily win as well. But I fancy Spain.
Yeah.
Ian, is the atmosphere, you're out there, what's the feel out there? Is the atmosphere becoming like emotionally charged already, or is it
No, I mean, in fairness, where I am, although it's residential, it's very, very British. I mean, there'll be parts of Spain where, you know, there'll be kids running around with flags and stuff like that. You won't get that here. What you might get at 11 o'clock here will be fireworks going off. And certainly if they win on, you win on Wednesday, they win on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. The Spanish know how to party, don't they?
Yeah, both squads are
what have I done?
individual talents as well, haven't they?
Back.
You lost me.
Yeah,
you froze for a split second.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm trying to get that, and I've been trying this. Adrian will tell you we've been having fun and games with this. I'm trying to get that "Come on, you Spurs" as my background.
Right.
I don't know how to do it.
It's in the banners, Ian. It's in the banners. So
just get it out the banners and load it.
Oh, right. Oh, the one up the top. You mean where the motive is? Yeah, where the.
Oh, hang on. That one's telling me split screen, so that's not that.
Right. Okay. Right. While you're sorting that out, then right. So it looks like we're sort of siding with Spain. You know what I mean, perhaps we're feeling guilty about sinking their armada. I don't know. So yeah. So yeah. So okay.
That was down my way. That was Plymouth.
We didn't mean it. We didn't mean it, Spain.
Right. Anyway, so okay, so that's that and that, right? There has been, I don't know if you read anymore, there has been a bit of transfer news, Spurs transfer news lately. It's mainly a sort of rehash. There was one rumour about we will pay the Eze release clause, 60 mil. There's another rumour that we're in for, which is an interesting one, 25 mil. I don't know if it's that much for Zemanski at Fenerbahce. Well, Jose's running Fenerbahce now. Zemanski, if you don't know, he's a playmaker, number 10. He's a cross between Ericsson and Maddison. Minor reservations about him. I don't doubt his technical ability at all, and he can get the odd goal from the box. It's his physicality for the Premier League would be a concern for me. I think he's about 10 stone. But, you know, Modric and others have done it before him. So, like, that's just me probably being a bit conservative with him. And there's been the other rumours about Emerson Royal going. Right. So, Mark, you want Eze?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I want people that'll improve us. You know, none of these like kids. None of these. Right, the kids is all right, but after you've signed a few ones that improve us, our first 11, you don't. You know, if the window stopped now, I'd be highly disappointed.
Yeah, I mean,
so with the fans of most clubs, because no one's done any proper business.
No. I want players to come in that improve us immediately. You think, say, like England lose tomorrow and we signed Eze Thursday. You think, right? He walks straight into our team.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Straight in. Even if, you know, someone like Ivan Toney, you know, he's getting straight in. Improve us immediately. I don't want all these like ones for the future, like what's his name, with Archie Gray. Who knows? He might be another Jack Clark. Who knows? He probably won't be, but he might be. You don't know. None of this punting on the future. They might be brilliant. I mean, you buy enough kids, you're going to get the odd one or two that are brilliant, but you're going to get darn sight more that don't make it. You know, I want players in that improve us immediately. Okay. No messing about.
I think, and I've had this discussion, I think, with Mark on here. I think Mark's making the error, if I can be respectfully say the error, of thinking it's an either or, and it's not. The experienced, seasoned player that we seem to be looking at would appear to still be in the Europa, or indeed still at the
Copa America,
because we've been heavily linked with John. Is it Jonathan David? Have I got his name right?
Yeah, he's in a final.
Who's still with Canada in the semi-final against Argentina. Now, I suspect we will get Jonathan David or Ivan Toney. I think that's where their thoughts will be. Mm-hmm. That would improve us. I would bite your hand off for Eze. I think he's got everything that we would want to play in that left-sided position. And I do expect us to be buying some players, 3, maybe 4 of that caliber before the season starts. I mean, Szymanski would be an amazing signing as well. I mean, we can't have everybody, but I would expect we'll have, if we get 3 proper starters, as well as buying some of these players for the future, then I think you're future-proofing the club and you're still competitive this season. And then I would be very happy. But we've had false dawns, and I can understand those of the anti-Levy persuasion who are sceptical because they've heard and seen it all before. And I get that. But Daniel did promise us that the stadium would be the game changer. We have spent quite a lot of money. Yeah. We haven't spent all of it well.
No, definitely not.
Got the people in place that should be spending the money better. And if we get some of the sort of real proper emerging talents, generational talents coming through, but we don't lose sight of the fact we need players to improve the team, you know, from the 17th of August or whatever the season starts, then I'm going to be a happy man, very happy man.
Ellie, your take on Eze? Do you know anything about Szymanski?
Not much about Szymanski. I have seen him in reels and everything, like when we were linked with him initially. So I do like the player. He can move the ball quickly. He's very good off the ball. He's a good team player. He links up play very well. As for being lightweight, I think he's all right. You know, in terms of his build, he has to be that sort of midfield little guy. And the little guys either have been good in general, but in world football, you just have to look at Messi, and he's only 5'7". So I think he's a bit of a build, though. But in regards to Eze, I've been watching him since, because my husband's a big QPR fan, as everybody knows by now. And I watched him for QPR many, many times, and I thought this player is way above QPR's level. And when he went to Crystal Palace, I was very upset. I thought we should have got him then, but at least we're in for him now. And I just hope that they can seal the deal, pay that payoff that he needs to be paid, the buy-off clause, whatever it's called, and we seal the deal, because he's going to add a lot of flavour to that left side of the midfield. And he uses class, and he moves like a gazelle on the pitch. You know, the way he runs, he's so effortless, and he's so calm, and he brings a calm around him as well. You know, and you need players like that with that extra bit of je ne sais quoi on the ball, and he can score goals as well. We saw it at White Hart Lane. He scored a terrific free kick. Yeah, and they were unlucky to win that day, Crystal Palace, but, you know, we got the victory that day. But Eze was their star performer that day, and he has been ever since he signed. Apart from the injuries that he had, he picked up, and but he came back strong, and it shows character when you do that. When you've been out for a long time and you come back and you score 11 goals, that's pretty neat from midfield. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm just hoping and praying that we get him, and those South Londoners down the road don't get him.
Can I ask a question there of all of you then? I know I'm not hosting, but
No, you can.
very heavily linked with Neto for
Yeah.
not the first time. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, the boy's got talent by the bucket load, but I worry about his end product, and I worry about his injury record. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I am concerned about this interest. Look, he's a wonderful footballer. Right? Yeah. If Wolves think they're going to get 60 million for him, they're living in cuckoo land, right? Not going to happen with his injury problems. Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, my concern is end product. See, he's one of those players that plays well against us and our fans. Oh, get him in, right? But you've got his injury record, and in 20 games, he scored 2 goals. He missed 19 games last season. He missed 19 games. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a fit player will play more than 20 games. You take us this coming season, we're going to have 48 games minimum if we go out all the competitions. So you'd still be able to play 2 different 11-a-sides. You can give them 24 matches each. So maybe that's not so bad. We can, but it's the goals for me. You know, well, I've been banging on about. Our forward line's been pants. We should be looking to score goals, and we should be looking to win the league, right? Now, as much as I really want the Europa League next year, that's the one trophy I really want out of all of them. But yeah, I mean, but our problem is goals from midfield and the front three. You know, Mark, what do you think?
Me, well, I mean, we know how fantastic our medical department are. Can you imagine them Can you imagine our medical department getting their hands on Neto? You'd end up with a leg missing. You know, I mean, he's too injury prone. I mean, you can't be paying like 50, 60 million, whatever, and he's not available for half the games. That sort of defeats the objective of signing these improvements, or so-called improvements. I mean, he's a fantastic player, but it's the injuries. It's the injuries that, you know, because you can't be spending all that money for him not to be fit, basically. You know, so personally, I wouldn't sign him.
Ellie, your take on that?
Well, we've got Kulusevski, who's he's got better stats than the boy, but he's one of those exciting players that gets you off your seat. He's like a Ginola type player, you know, and he gets you off his seat. He makes you excited, really brilliant on the ball, doesn't score enough. And like the injury part of it, we're taking a risk, just put it that way. If it was 25 mil, it would be worth the risk. But at 60 mil, we can put 30 million players in there that can score goals from the wing, you know, and there are better players who can score, maybe not technically better or more exciting, but there's wingers out there that can score goals. Nico Williams, for example, would be a fantastic buy. And I'd take a punt on him. And then you know what? That what's his name? The one who was at Chelsea, the one who was at Ajax. What's his name? Ziyech. He can score. Ziyech, yeah, he can score goals, but he's got something to prove as well, because at Chelsea, he was like a bit part player.
I think he's in Turkey now.
Yeah, like we could prize him back, you know, because he's got a point to prove. And do you know what? He's a very good player, and maybe he would be less of a risk than Neto, being that he doesn't get injured as much and he can score more goals. I was looking at his stats, got very good goal scoring stats for Ajax, and then Chelsea took a punt on him. All right. He was at that Chelsea team when they were going on the downer, weren't they? Right? He wasn't on the up, apart from the Champions League that he played in. And then they went on a downer, and then he lost his place. He might be worth a punt, but I'm saying Neto, it's a hard one to call, really, because that injury record is not good.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm going to come to you. And now we know that Spence and Reguilon are surplus to requirements, but they've been out on loan on bit players. But there's 4 players that we know will go. You know that Gill, Lo Celso, Emerson, and Højbjerg, sadly for Elliot, will be leaving the club, right? Not because Ange doesn't want to keep Højbjerg, just Højbjerg wants more game time. I think he would keep him, right? But
Queen Archie Gray just doesn't have the same ring, does he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Adrian.
Would you miss any of those 4, Mark? Or are you glad to see the back of those 4? Or Gill, Emerson, and
Gill. He's only he can't have played more than a handful of games for us.
Yeah.
He's made. He's had a couple of substitute appearances, but I wouldn't miss him. The Celso, he's another one. See, when Argentina are playing, he's fully fit immediately. If our home shirt had light blue stripes on it and white, he'd be fit all the time. Although he did miss
a kit like that.
Yeah. Although he did miss one of them, didn't he? He missed the World Cup or the Copa America because he was injured. But
he was injured.
He's another one. He's always injured for us, but as soon as Argentina come knocking, he's suddenly back. But the only one I'd miss really. Now, I'm not just saying this because Ellie's on the screen, but Højbjerg. Højbjerg's always given 100%, and he's not moaned and groaned about sitting on the bench ever. Well, you haven't heard it, I don't know, obviously, but he's never moaned and groaned about sitting on the bench. And to be honest, Højbjerg's always done a job when he's played. I still think Tottenham play him in the wrong position. I think he should be further forward, like he is for Denmark.
Yeah.
Those 4 players I mentioned, Ian, your opinion on them, and do you think, like I do, that because those 4 are coming, although they weren't Spurs fans' cup of tea, the fan base always divided 50-50 on every player we've got virtually, but because they're going, do you believe that I do, that we will get another 4 players in?
I certainly expect to be, at least 3. I mean, the squad is quite bloated, and we've got a couple of young kids coming through as well as the ones we bought. But I think that's what I would certainly expect that we would be looking at. I mean, Lo Celso is one of those. Why is he not doing it in a Spurs shirt? But clearly, this manager doesn't fancy him, and the bottom line is the previous 3 haven't fancied him either. So. So you just have to concede that whatever it is, he hasn't got what they need for the Premier League. Højbjerg doesn't let you down. I remember the game we beat Arsenal 3-0 at Tottenham 3 years ago or whatever it was. And I watched it back on replay. And because it was all great attacking play and what have you, it was fabulous. If you watch it back, just see the amount of work that Højbjerg does. The fetching and carrying, the being available to pick out where Arsenal didn't have an out ball, and picking it up and getting it into positions really quickly was superb. But I said last summer I didn't think Højbjerg would make it at Tottenham under Ange because he doesn't have the mobility. He's not good enough to be an 8. And he's not mobile enough to be a 6. So he has to go. And I'm sorry, Ellie, because he's done nothing wrong. I just don't think he suits the system. We will be looking for a more mobile 6. And Archie Gray might be that. I don't know how quickly, but Bentancur, Bissouma, Gray, I think that's a good little options there. Spence is a big disappointment because I think as an inverted fullback, he's almost from central casting for that role, but you can't teach attitude. And that would allow Porro to play further forward, which I think he'd be more effective in. Where else will we got? Reguilon. I may have missed one out. Reguilon, there's no market for Reguilon. I'm reading today. There's not been much interest.
Yeah, that doesn't concern me so much. He will go simply because it's not a question whether Man United want to back up for Shaw in case they're worried about other injuries or whether Brentford come back in for him. to me, it's the fact that I was talking to Mark. We were speaking about this the other day. He's left-footed, and the left-footed players are, there's a dearth of them out there. And like everybody's saying it now because we're very early into the days of the season. The transfer window goes to the 1st of September, so like you've got a long way to go yet. And I've spent, and like there is an abundance of fullbacks out there either that people have mentioned that are great, because we've only were linked with Vanderson and Gertrude's multiplayer in fighting for final. So like I don't think there'll be no issue getting rid of them. But those 4, they were bench sitters last year. Gill, Celso, Emerson, and Højbjerg. I take it you're not going to miss any of them.
No, I don't think we will. Not at all.
Okay.
I don't think we will. And I think Emerson, as time has come, the fact that we're not getting much money, and this is always the problem. When we buy a player, we seem to play top dollar for them, and when you try and sell them, there's just no market for them. Unless it's our absolute world superstars that we don't want to let
all
go.
I can say on the poor Bayern is I believe like the last why Paratici come, he needs praise, even though he was a crook. He needs a bit of praise for what he's done at the club, partly responsible for the restructuring at youth levels as well upwards. So we have failed better in the transfer market in the last. That's what I say. Failed better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Much better. So Emerson will go, and with the best will in the world, no one is going to go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next season and say, if only we had Emerson Royale. Let's be honest.
Ellie, your take on.
And the great thing about being in Spain is at this time of the night you start getting eaten by mozzies. So I need to get some protection on. Hang on a second, I'll be back.
Right. Excluding Reguilon and Spence, because they weren't really part of last season at all. They're out on loan. So those 4 that we know will go. I'm confident we'll get 4 because they're bench sitters. So you've got Gill, like I say, Lo Celso, Emerson, and Højbjerg. I think all 4 will go, and that means we've got to bring in 4 replacements. But I'm not including the youngsters in that. I still think we'll bring in 4. Your take? Will you miss any of them?
I agree with everything that's been said, because especially with my man Højbjerg, because Højbjerg is one of those players. He's like Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or hate him. There's no middle ground, and he creates a lot of controversy in the fan base as well. But the thing is, with him, he is a player that he needs time on the ball, and his mobility, like you said, he's not the quickest, but he's not slow. That's one thing. He's not slow, but he can't move the ball quick enough for Angie's system. So he's probably going to go. I would imagine if he's going to stay, then he's going to be a bencher, because he's not going to be in the first 11, and he'll only get opportunities where there's been injuries, and he'll play a bit part like he did this season. It's a very good bit part on the most part. But he did make a lot of mistakes moving the ball quickly because he's not used to it. So he looks like he's going to be a casualty. Reguilon and Brian Hill, what have they done? What has Lo Celso done? He's done nothing for us, really. Like Mark alluded, that he puts on the Argentinian shirt and he plays out of his skin. But for us, he's flattered to deceive, hasn't he? So
even Andrew's rumoured he'd want to keep him and all that. But no matter if you kept the Celso, no matter what he'd done, it can't make up for his poor career at Spurs so far. So just let him go. Just let him go.
I mean, he's got the talent to play handball, if you want to call it handball. He can move the ball quickly. He's a technically gifted player, but he just hasn't got that. He hasn't got that work ethic or the desire in a Spurs shirt. You can see it from the lad. He hasn't got the heart. And I pick up on body language. And when he comes on, he's pulling his shirt down. He's playing with his shirt too much for my liking. It's not getting him focused into the game. You want a player, if he's going to come off the bench, to affect the game in a positive manner. And he really has flattered to deceive. So Jed Spence, he's one of these question marks. We've seen little bits of what he can do, and everywhere he's gone, nobody wants him. There must be something behind that. Otherwise, there's no smoke without fire, isn't there, lads? You know, there must be something wrong there. Not every manager can be wrong. He's got sent packing back from Leeds, from Daniel Farke. He didn't want him. Even like early doors, he was shipped out on loan to Nottingham Forest from Middlesbrough. So the lad, he's had his chance to build his career up in Italy, and he hasn't he hasn't set the world on fire over in Italy either. So we've got him back. We've got to ship him out, I would imagine. The only way he's going to get a reprieve is if Ange Postecoglou sees something that other managers haven't seen. Now he's back. Obviously, Ndombele's gone. Reguilon, he's another one. Talented boy going forward, defensively shocking. Yeah, so we can't take a risk on that. We need players that are good on the ball in both areas, especially because you're going to play the inverted wing-back system. Yeah, so I won't miss him. Brian Hill is another one.
Gill, that's the one I forgot.
Brian Hill, yeah. I'm going to pronounce it the Spanish way, Hill.
Hill.
I do
That was
hope
a shock.
it.
For all
Yeah.
Paratici's brilliance, that was a shocking piece of recruitment.
Yeah, like he showed that he's got talent, the boy, but the Premiership can eat you up. If you haven't got the physicality nowadays, you do really need that physicality on the ball. You don't have to be a big guy, but you have to be aggressive. And like you alluded to, Adrian, like we haven't got enough aggressive players, so I won't miss him. I did like him early doors. I thought his movement was good. You know, he's technically gifted.
Yeah, I mean, I like my defenders to be units. I like my number 6 to be a unit. And if Graham's there, he's 6'2", Bergvall 6'2". Soren, I'll come to you on the. I mean, like I said to the others while you were gone, Reguilon and Spence didn't play no part no season, but we know they'll go. They'll be gone by the end of the window. I'm confident of that, even though there's no mention of interesting parties at present, because the window isn't really in a full swing for, say, the medium or lesser clubs yet, and they'll get taken up, right? So Gill, Lo Celso, Emerson, and Højbjerg, they'll go, and I believe we'll get 4 players in because they were mainly bench warmers last season. So would you want to keep any of those 4 or no?
I think I'm going to sort of echo what a few of the others have already said. You know, Højbjerg for me he's been fantastic as a player for Tottenham Hotspur. I think it was Ian mentioned earlier, if you go back and actually watch some of the games Højbjerg plays, he runs his heart out. The biggest problem that Højbjerg has is, yes, he wants a bit more time than he's going to get, but he hasn't got the pace neither. His pace is just a little bit too short for what I see in the Premiership. If he goes to Italy or Spain or somewhere like that, he's gonna shine. He is a fantastic footballer. And that first 2 seasons when he came in under Mourinho and thingy, he was fantastic. He was, you know,
Mourinho, bloody hell.
Yeah.
I fell in love with him that season. I thought he was
and you watch him when he plays for Denmark. He's good. And
man of the match against England. Man of the match.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, people say he's not good enough to play in this Tottenham team. Well, my question is, what players do you expect then? You know, he's consistent. Yes, the biggest problem with him is he makes a couple of mistakes. Now he's playing in the Ange Ball system. It's too fast for him. I get the reason to move him on. But one thing I'd like to say is, you know, there's a lot of hate for Emerson Royal. Can you imagine if Ndombele had his mentality? What a player would have had then. You know, a player that goes out and tries to improve himself to make sure he can play for the system. And he just isn't talented enough. That's the problem. Or
spent his own money as well.
800 grand he spent. 800 grand apparently.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if Ndombele had been half the man even as what he is and wanted to make sure he succeeded, God would have had a player.
Yeah.
I think Emerson Royal goes to Italy or Spain again, something like that. He's going to be a good player because he's got that time. Again, the Premiership isn't the place for him. He's not good enough to be in a Premiership team. Jed Spence, I don't know what I think he's got talent, but I just think his mentality is wrong.
Yeah.
He either thinks he's bigger than he actually is, and that's why Leeds sent him back. Wanted that his mentality wasn't good enough for it wasn't professional enough for what they wanted, which doesn't seem right. Maybe with age he'll settle down and become a player that he should be. We look at the young lad that went to Sporting. I can't think of his Edwards. All the time in the world and a bad mentality.
He's an Enfield lad. He's where I'm from.
Yeah,
his sister works with me.
Yeah, you look at that lad. He could have, God knows where he would be now if he'd have stayed at Tottenham and had the right mentality. But Lascelles.
No, he can play handball, Soren.
He could, he could.
Play handball, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether he's got the physicality to last the whole season. Because he's a slight boy. He's not a big lad.
Yeah, he is. He's only little.
Right, on the subject of those 6 going, I think all 6 will go. And another one, I'm not sure I wanted to go. The word is that the players are back at training, and Troy Parrott is training on his own. Rumoured that there'll be a bid from AZ Alkmaar for him.
I was going to say, isn't there already a bid?
Sorry?
I thought somebody had actually bid for him now. Or
there may be a bid in because he's not been training with the squad. So he's been training on his own. Now I don't see why that would stop him from training with the squad anyway, because it's not as though you'd think he was a troublemaker. So I don't know.
Imminent.
Maybe there's something to this story and he's going. I haven't seen enough of him, to be honest with you. I would like to see a bit more. He got about 17 goals in the Dutch league last year, the same as Jimenez did at Feyenoord, the one we're interested in. We've had bad buyers, haven't we? When we bought Matey from Holland and he ended up in Mexico, but he won a trophy out there, Jensen.
Everybody wins a trophy when they leave Spurs.
That's why they come here. That's why they come here. They know they're going to win a trophy, not with us, but when they leave, right? So
we can't stop winning trophies again, lads.
You pick up the trophy-winning dust here, and then you take it with you when you go. Yeah. So on those 6 players I mentioned, Soren, I come to you like Gil Spence, Lo Celso, Emerson. I'm forgetting the other 2.
Højbjerg.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How much do you think we could add to our transfer budget by selling these guys?
Well, it seems like Lo Celso's probably going to be part of the deal if we get him from Aston Villa.
Jacob Ramsey.
Ramsey, yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, it sounds like we've upped our bid for him and Lo Celso's part of that deal. So you kind of look at it and think, if that's the case, we're not getting anything from him. Spence, it's hard. You kind of think he's got to be worth 10 million, but we're not going to get that, are we? Yeah, that's the problem. So
I wouldn't say no. What you got also take in consideration is, okay, you might not think he hasn't done much. He's been out on loan in Genoa and he did well, right? I wouldn't write him off for under 10 mil. And simply because, one, club's going to need players. And if clubs need a fullback, where are you going to get one for less than 10 mil? Where are you going to get one?
But
I don't think any player in a Premier League player, none of them go for less than, not even a right back. We know these foreign clubs, I think, are pulling strokes, pleading poverty.
Yeah.
But the club have virtually said to Genoa, no, you're taking the rise out of us. We're not having it. He's coming back with us. He's under contract for a few years. It's not like, Lo Celso's got 1 year to go. That's a different ballgame, right? His value drops. But no, we as fans, I get us fans saying, oh, he's only worth that. I get that from our point of view, not seeing him, he ain't done it. We reckon he's got a poor attitude, blah, blah, and all that. But I still think, we have to take our prejudice out of this and just say, he still has a market value. and you cannot buy a fullback for 10. Tell me who you can buy for 10 mil.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's all right saying that, Adrian, but then you've got to have a buyer for him. That's the problem. And when you've got a player that's been out on loan and not many people have really probably looked at him, then, you know, it's different if he's playing in the Premiership and these teams have seen him play week in, week out or coming on. But I don't, how much will we get? I mean, you look at it and you think, Højbjerg, I mean, it's got to be worth 20 million, surely. But
Easy.
Yeah, but will we,
especially after the Euros as well.
Will we
80 after the England game.
Yeah, but the problem is, will we get it? You know, I mean, you look at the teams that he's going to go to, Italy or Spain. They don't want to pay any money for it. They're not interested in paying money.
The Championship clubs are the same. I mean, like, teams in the Championship and wanted to buy a fullback or centre half, I bet we'd be quoted 5 or 10 mil for any player, basically. I think we would. I think there's just a bottom market for value. There's a bottom market value for players. But I mean, I could be totally wrong. It's just my thoughts on it, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know who I'd like to get?
Just to answer that question, no, it's not Dave Mackey, it's Simon.
Right.
Yeah. You know who I'd like to get? There was 2 players at Brentford that I absolutely think are top class, and they could get even better with us. Is that Bissa and Mabomu? He can score goals. He's speed, the lightning, and he'll be brilliant on the wing or through the middle. He's a fantastic player, and he was injured for a lot of the last season, but he came back, and he's such a professional. I remember when they beat us 3-2, right, and we were giving it to him, right, and he just kept his cool, and he scored 2 goals against us, and he's always comes up with brilliant goals against Chelsea. The way he scored, and that Vissa, he reminds me a lot of Garth Crooks. A lot.
Well, Damsgaard's a prospect there as well. He scored that free kick against England the other time, like, and we were interested in him at one stage. Like, so, like, you know,
sort of fallen by the wayside with Brentford. He's not quite in there. He's not making the first team or the first 11 all the time.
So, guys, I mean, how much do you think we'll get for these 6 players I've mentioned, not including Parrott, who looks like he might be going to Holland to stay? Right.
It's totally up. See,
I think the signings are kind of already done. I think the players that we're getting in are already done, and we're just waiting for the Euros to finish.
I reckon 80
I think the 3 players come in.
I know we want Eze bad. I'm wondering if we go in for a Douay in France. That if we pay 30 mil for him, and every man his stats are phenomenal, right? Apart from goal scoring stats, he's only 19.
That'll be a minimum of 40 mil, Adrian. I'm telling you now.
Yeah. So then would that affect us going in for? But then we'd save money. See, we don't know what the budget is. You know, on average we spent about 137. Yeah, nor should we. I know, but we want it. I know, but we want it for the conversation, don't we? So, but like with an average, we spent 137 million a season since the stadium's opened. Now, I reckon. Well, those 6 players. I mean,
I reckon 80 mil. 20
I was going to say that.
I'm thinking
70 or 80 mil. 70 mil, I reckon. 70.
All right, we'll go around then. We'll take the average.
The sales about 15, 20, isn't he?
Yeah,
roughly.
Well, Højbjerg's worth more than that on his own.
Yeah,
especially after the England game.
25, I think his calling point.
After the England game, Pierre's worth at least 50 now.
I think we would only get about. He's got a year left on his contract. Could get a bit more. Højbjerg, I think, is worth 20 mil or 25 mil easily.
25.
To a team that plays a different style, he's definitely worth that.
Yeah. I think the Celso's worth about 15, 20.
Don't think we'll get that for him, though.
15
There's
mil.
talk, guys, about a deal with Lo Celso going to Villa and us taking Jacob Ramsey. Would presumably mean we might get more in part exchange because we're selling to an English club. I mean, half the problem is the English clubs pay top dollar, and then the foreign clubs can't afford to go anywhere near what we spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also with that link, it's understandable because we've took Johan Lange, who's our director of football of Villa. We took Milo Jedin, who's doing our analytics up there during games with where the press box are, and we took Frederick Leff, who probably most fans have never heard of, who's from Villa, who's a head of strategy. So, and they will know the Villa players. So if they really like Ramsey and want him, I mean, I've watched him, but even though I've watched him on a video, I'm going more with these ex-Villa boys that now work for us because they would have seen a lot of him. They obviously think he's a great prospect. All depends how Unai Emery wants to shape his squad. He had Lo Celso with him before in Spain. So obviously I think he'd want the player. But, I mean, Lo Celso may end up going there whether we get Ramsey or not. Because the intriguing thing about the transfer market is how we're all going to end up playing Football Manager. I mean,
sure.
Because if go on in. I mean, what I was going to say just before you come in was depends who we get in, where we actually see Archie Gray play. Because if we bring a right back in, if we do, then that's going to determine Archie Gray's position in midfield, maybe as a 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
If we don't bring a right back in, we know the midfield position he played 30 games at right back, about 20 odd in a midfield. He's played as a number 10 and as a number 6. So, and we and the inverted fullback is sort of a hybrid position anyway. It's sort of midfielder, isn't it? So go on, Ian.
What I was going to ask, I would say is Ramsey good enough to improve us?
I don't know.
Or is he another young player with potential that might eventually?
I think he's a really good player. What I've seen of him, he just needs that break. And you know what? I think he'll grab it with both arms because he's such a good lad. You can tell that he wants to do well, and he's not really been given a big chance at Aston Villa. He's played the big part, but because they went and bought Coutinho, didn't they? And then he tightened down because of the Gerrard playing Coutinho all the time. So I think he can. You never know, right? But he's got the credentials and he's got the skill.
He's a cam, isn't he? Really? I mean, he can play forward as a 10 as well.
He's a central attacking midfielder. What I've seen of him, I liked. But it's a big step for him. So he's got to fill the boots, hasn't he? Because we've had fabulous players in his position. Let's see if he's either going to excel or he's going to be one that falls by the wayside again.
If it was take him over Conor Gallagher, yes, every day of the week. If it was take Dewey over Ramsey, I would take Dewey. And what I've seen, he just looks mental.
I've gone off the idea of Gallagher, I must be honest.
I think Gallagher's been parked now. We've got Gray.
Is you ever on it?
Because you got Bergvall as well. So, I mean, Mark, what do you think?
I've not really seen a great deal of him, to be honest.
Fair enough.
No, how old is he?
Ramsey.
What, Jacob Ramsey?
Yeah.
23.
Yeah, he's sort of early 20s, isn't it?
Yeah, so like I said, I've not really seen a lot of him, so I've got no. Well, my feelings. I've said if we're going to make signings, bring in ones that improve us immediately. Not like they might be good next year or the year after. We've been in a project. We've been in a project for the last 24 years.
This comment here, I want to bring this up because fans Man of Solomon, right? I want to bring this guy up.
I'll talk about that. Then I'm going to knock off.
Okay, fine.
Stuff to do before the match starts.
Out of sight, out of mind with a lot of fans, and when they don't see a player is injured, they throw him under the bus. I recently posted a video of this guy around to remind people of what he could do. I like the player. I do like this player, right? And he does score goals. He can play on both wings. I don't know. Well, I'll come to you, Ian. How much have you seen of Man of Solomon?
Not enough. Another one that spent too much time on the treatment table. When you think last season when we were struggling a little bit on the left and we had Sessegnon, who might well have become a great player for us in that left attacking position, and Solomon, both in the treatment table. I would certainly like to see him being given a go. And if you've got Sonny there you've got Solomon on form, and Werner. And we've had the discussion. I understand why he signed Werner, because he knows. You listen to Postecoglou, and he said to play our football. My emphasis, our football. And he's absolutely determined to have players that play the game the way he wants it played, which is the right players in the right positions. And Werner ticks that box, and I think so does Solomon. So I'd like to see him fit, and I'd like to see him. Get a chance. He's certainly a player with that has a lot to offer in that that wide left position for Tottenham. A lot.
Mark.
Yeah, well, Matt, he did he come on as substitute and get injured? That was the last we saw of him.
Yeah.
He hasn't hardly played, has he?
No, he came on. He had a couple of cameos on the right, and he takes players on. He's not frightened to take players on. He's got loads.
No. I was going to say, to be honest, it was that long ago. I can't really remember, but
and then away to Burnley, he had 2 assists for Son's hat.
Yeah.
And that's when he really caught my eye, because I thought, wingers that take players on and all that. Now you get some wingers, their head down, arse up, they don't even look. They'll off a ball in and all that. But he didn't.
That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got vision. I like him. I'd look. He kept Mudryk out the Shakhtar Donetsk side.
Yeah,
you can't really say much the way Mudryk's played at Chelsea. It doesn't say much for the money they spent for him. But I like the look of him. I really did. Him again the other day. I thought, hang about, he's back fit. He's at the training ground. So get the old video up when he first come, post it out to everyone who's forgotten what he's like, and then have a little look. I like it. I keep him as a squad player on what I've seen. I would definitely keep him. Right? But who knows?
We probably only saw him for about 20 minutes in total over about 3 or 4 appearances.
Yeah.
But so you said when he provided those 2 assists, I was very impressed. I mean, if he's whatever injury he had, if he's fully fit and cured from it, keep him definitely.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to look off. I say I've got some stuff I need to do before.
Thanks for your input, Ian.
Good guys.
Thanks, Ian.
Catch up with you soon, all of you.
Yeah. And we'll sort out the technical difficulties, okay?
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll sort it, Adrian. Take care, all.
Thank you.
Bye, Ian.
Soren, have you seen much of Man of Solomon? Probably not.
I've seen as much as any other Tottenham fan, basically.
20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was Fulham he came from, wasn't it? And I mean, I saw him a few times at Fulham, and look, I think it's another one of these where is he the level that we want? Possibly not. Is he the level that we've got? Yes. And as a backup, you kind of think that's about where we're going to be. But I think he's got to be given a chance. I mean, that's the problem. There's all this hate for these players, and some of them just haven't really been given a chance to show whether they're good enough to play for Tottenham. And we hear on one side, well, how long do we give them? Do we give them a season? Do we give them half a season? Do we give them 2 seasons to settle in and to show what they can do? Well, he hasn't really had half a season even. So it is technically is a good player. Whether he suits Ange Ball, he seems to. And he just needs a chance,
Okay, right. Okay, then we'll move on to the last point which you've raised. You've given me a little feeder link there, as we haven't seen much of them, right? We know now that we got 7 pre-season friendlies to play.
7 now, was it?
Yeah, we got Cambridge United Saturday at home behind closed doors at Hotspur Way now.
Oh.
So Ange wanted this game. Funnily enough, I think we make a habit of playing Cambridge United, I think, in these sort of games. So Soren, what are you expecting to happen in these games, and what do you expect Ange is looking for? What do you think Ange is looking for?
What do I expect to happen? We're going to play football. I don't see anything on the first 1 or 2 games. I think it's just a case of he's just going to tell them to go out there and play football. And we've got to, surely he's got to play some of the kids in these first few games. But saying that, like we've already mentioned, there's a lot of our first teamers are actually back in training already. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we haven't got VDV. We haven't got Dragerson.
We haven't got them, but we've
We
got
haven't got Romero, Celso. Not we got Celso.
Yeah, but we've got Richie and all them lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of what were first team players. Yes, we haven't got, you know, Vicario. No, Vicario won't be back, will it? But you kind of look at it and think that, you know, it should be a good mix of what would be first team players and some youth players, hopefully. So, I don't expect anything from the first couple of matches. Really, it's literally just go out there. And you'll be looking to see the mentality of these players. Are they trying? Are they understanding what he's wanting? Are they listening to what he's saying? This is the thing. And where we go on about, oh, we haven't signed anybody that's marquee or big name signings. People, you know, some of the youngsters, Gray, and these are the ones that he'll be looking to see what the mentality is. Have they listened to what he said? Are they going to go out and be able to play his system? And if they are, I mean, everyone's writing Archie Gray off. I think he'll start sooner than most people think.
I do as well.
I mean, he's not going to start the first. Well, he could start the first couple of games because we're going to be a few players short. But you know, I mean, everybody said Pap Sarr wasn't ready. You know, Udogi wasn't ready. Yes, these are young players, and we've played them, and they're regular players.
I agree, Soren, because even if we're getting signings in, if we get later signings, they won't have had a pre-season. So even if they're a name, that won't guarantee they start for Ange. Because if you're not oven ready to go in the team, what he considers to be oven ready, then you're going to have to wait until you get your fitness levels up to a level that you think, yes. And they will monitor, but you have to reach a certain level across loads of parallels there with your fitness before you're considered to even play a game. That's all done with the sports and science, right? So the players have got to reach these levels, right? Before it's like when they come back from an injury, the same thing. So I'm totally in agreement with you there. Yeah.
I mean,
Mark,
just to this one before we move on.
Yeah, of course.
I kind of agree with him, but I also disagree with him. If we're playing, say, one of the, you know, the FA Cup, and we're playing the lower league teams, he's good enough to play them. If we're playing in Europe and we get one of the lower teams, he's good enough to play them. He's not good enough maybe as a starting Premiership player. I fully agree with that. But as that squad player, in a squad that's going to have to be bigger than the first 11, he's good enough.
It's easy to throw him on the bus, say he's not good enough. What I've seen in that video, I like the player. I don't know if he's got a higher ceiling. I don't know if he's got a higher ceiling. I don't know if he kick on. If he's going to kick on, I don't know. But we brought him in from Fulham when his contract ran out there. Shakhtar Donetsk wanted a chunky sum for him. We said, no, we're not breaking any rules here. We ain't giving you nothing, but we give you a game, a testimonial stadium, right? So, Mark, your take on the pre-season games. What do you want to say?
Yeah, no. Definitely the first few are just like build-up games. Just go out, have a little run round, like slowly build your fitness up. But how many in seasons gone by? I remember, like, you know, some of them you could watch, some of them you saw the results. We'd win every game, and then the Premiership started, and we'd be dreadful.
Yeah,
you know, and with these friendlies, we'd won all of them, like 7, 8 friendlies, whatever we played. And you think, Christ, we're going to be on fire when the Premier League starts. Get out. First weekend, lose. Second weekend, lose. And you think, well, where's the pre-season form gone? You got to realise pre-season.
Apart from last season, we had a crap pre-season, Mark.
Yeah, we started on fire.
Draws. No team has started. Spurs hold the record for the first 10 games now.
Yeah,
8 wins and 2 draws. So that was freaky. It surprised me.
Yeah. I mean, so pre-season. I mean, you can't. I mean, basically, it's about building your fitness up. It's about building your fitness, isn't it? And having it. Well, I'd like him to like have a look at all the players and then make a decision. You know, just have a good look at him. Think, you know, I mean, he's obviously more qualified than I am. I ain't got no qualifications, but like he must know what he's looking at. You know, the way they're. I mean, even if they're only jogging about, he must see like the intent, or you know, the way. Like it's like Soren said, the way they're listening to his instructions, even if they're not full pelted doing it, because you don't expect that in the first couple. But you know, he's got to have a look at all the people who he considers good enough to be in the squad. You know, and then make decisions. You know, yes, no.
Yeah, your take on the pre-seasons and what you expect to see.
It's a fact find, though, isn't it? Like having a look at all the players, how they gel together. Because, like, we've had fantastic combinations, like with Dele and Eriksson, Ginola with Ferdinand. You know, we've all throughout the years, Archibald and Crooks. You've got like little cliques inside the team that work so well. So I think Postecoglou would be looking for that continuity in terms of how the players gel together and who he thinks are the best 11 to start. And he'll be looking very closely at those young lads as well. And one thing I can say about Archie Gray, he's a fabulous footballer. At 18 years old, the way he beats players and leaves them for dead, I don't know why people are doubting him, because this lad, he's from a true footballing family as well. They absolutely love football, and he uses it from every crevice that when he plays. And I've got I'm carrying a lot of hope and joy with this lad. You know, Archie Gray. I think he's the real deal, right? So
I mean, the thing is, Ellie, you don't spend 40 million on a young kid like that if he hasn't. You know, I mean, it's. I know that the prices are going up, but it's like you say, he comes from a football. It's not a kid who's just come in who's none of the. He would have been heritage. Yeah,
he didn't Bielsa give him his debut when he was 15. Was it Bielsa or was it someone else? I know he got very good. He's not just got this rep over last season when he got Player of the Season in the Championship. No. He's got it over a couple of seasons. And everyone was knocking at his door. All right, if it'd be a big surprise if he doesn't make it. Adrian, but we don't know.
Do you know the funniest thing is though? All these people that are moaning about Archie Gray are the same people that say, send our youngsters into the Championship and see what they can do. Well, how come it's good enough to send our youngsters to the Championship to see what they can do? But when we put the best players out of the Championship to come and play for it, they're suddenly not good enough.
Yeah, I think he's 100% good enough.
Well, look at Palace. They got
that football heritage, isn't he? Like the boy oozes football from every crevice. He loves football. You know, when you get a player like that who absolutely adores putting on a football shirt from a young age, he's had that football heritage has been piled into his mentality, you know, and you can see when he goes on the pitch, he enjoys playing football, just like Gaza. Gaza was like that. If he could be half as good as Gaza, we've got a player on our hands. And we've got other players, Bergvall as well. I've been watching him. Who's his class? Well, let's see if he can step up.
Yeah, and this is it. The pressure's on them. I know they're young. Fees have been played. The fee's not their fault. The transfer fee's not their fault.
No, it's not.
But you know, you're at a club now, and now we do have expectations at the club. I know they usually end up in nothing. We do have expectations.
Let's have faith. We're going to do something this season. We're going to be able to
be happy.
But you've got to go. You've got to go into the new season with belief. You've got to believe. I believe we'll have. Look, I'll be honest and say that transfer window at the moment. 2 exciting players have come in Bergvall and Archie Gray. Has it been an exciting window? No, because we want some more. What Mark would say, either oven-ready, proven players brought in the next 4 signings that come in. I'd want at least 3 quality players, and if we get a duo in that's 19, I wouldn't say no to him because he does look the bee's knees. He does really look the bee's knees. Go inside, outside. I mean, like he's, as they say in France, he's unplayable. But that's only that league, right? That's fine. But the other 3, they've got to, you know, get me an Eze, and then like I'm a happy bunny. right? And then we'll see with the striker. I don't think we're going to get a striker in that's sexy for everyone because the fan base they're not sure. Tony, Santiago, Jonathan David, everyone's umming and ahhing because we don't really know what we're going to get if we get one of them in. And actually, I think that could be more of a risk if that goes wrong. We still got Eligio Velez, though. I'd like to see him get some time in his pre-season games. Yeah.
Let's not forget, though, Adrian, we're still in 4 competitions.
The quadruple is on, yeah?
We're still in the title race. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in Europe. So, there's a chance.
The quad is on. The quad is on.
Yeah, the quad is on. No, we got no chance to win the league, right? Unless Chelsea and every team above us gets done for financial fair play and they'll get docked 60 points each, then we'll win it, right? But, other than that, for Spurs fans, you just park the FA Cup to January. The 4th round doesn't start until the first week, about 5th, 6th, 7th of January. Forget about that. But we should go hard in the League Cup, not like last year. I think Ange must have learnt his lesson there. And he'll have a better squad of players to field a better team, whoever we get. We could be unlucky and get Man City or Liverpool away. So you don't know how things are going to turn out. But the Europa League, that's more percentage. We've got a great chance in it because we got 8 games, 4 at home and 4 away. And I would love us to be in a position whereby we've won 4 games and if 4 wins might be enough to make the other 4 games dead rubbers as such to give other players game time in their leagues, not necessarily play weakened teams because I think we're going to have a stronger squad than last year anyway. We will have. So, yeah. So that's my... Guys, with that, it's coming up to 8 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah. So, we need someone like this, Martin Chivers. Come on.
I will play you out with this, guys, and see you in the back room.